Telepathy hurts. Prologue. A young gang robs a highway truck stop. They are pursued. In a rural area, they abandon their car and scrabble up into the woody hills. Suddenly, lightning flashes all around them. Hideous aliens step from behind trees. The gang turns in terror and runs into the arms of the pursuing police. In the local police office, the gang babbles about the monsters they saw. One of the gang members grabs a pen and draws an alien. The policeman asks sternly, "You ever been around here before? You ever met anybody from here?" The gang says, "No." Policeman pulls out a file of exactly similar drawings of the aliens. Act 1. Mulder and Scully drive through rural Tennessee. Scully is concerned for Mulder's mental health. She says he suffers from monomania, a tendency to explain everything through one pet cause, space aliens. He says she's suffering from denial. She suggests he's paranoid megalomaniac and schizophrenic, in that he ignores the multitude of villains and scams they've investigated to focus on the UFO thing, because he feels guilty for not saving his sister from the aliens. He asks why she continues to work with him. She replies that he's a fascinating case study and harmless. He replies that she's insensitive. They arrive in Pendulum, the tiny town nearest the sightings. At the trooper station, they meet the chief. He tells them that he informed the FBI of the sightings because he wants definite proof that they're fantastic. He takes Mulder and Scully to the latest site. They climb the hill and find broken electrical fencing. The chief tells them the property belongs to a recluse named Borkin. One of them burned out Viet vets on a pension. Mulder comments on the sophistication of the fencing. They continue up the hill to Borkin's cabin. It's basic, neat. They decide Borkin must be in town, getting materials to repair the fencing. In Pendulum, the chief points out Borkin's pickup in front of the hardware store. Borkin is a huge, shuffling man, entering the store beside a very wiry old man. "Who's that with him?" Scully asks. "Borkin always comes in alone," the chief says, and abruptly leaves. Scully blinks. She clearly saw the wiry man trailing Borkin into the store. In the hardware store, Mulder and Scully feign interest in shower heads while observing Borkin. The store clerk gives Borkin a special order of high-tech electronic gear. Though halting in speech, Borkin displays great knowledge of electronics. The wiry man lingers by the door, steals packs of garden seeds. Other customers don't seem to notice. Scully comments on this to Mulder. Mulder replies, in the same tone as the chief, "Borkin is always alone." Scully would correct him on this, but he shushes her to eavesdrop on Borkin. When the clerk gives Borkin his bill, Borkin says, "I paid you already. You rung it up." And the clerk repeats, "You paid me already. I rung it up." Borkin and the old wiry man leave the store, Borkin carrying packages. They get in the pickup and drive away. As Mulder and Scully tail them, Scully asks, "Who is his friend?" Mulder asks, "What friend?" They tail the truck up to the mountain. It gets ahead of them around a curve. When they catch up to it, Mulder says, he's picked up a friend. Gillian registers this. Borkin gets out of the truck at the cabin and goes inside. The wiry man takes the equipment out of the truck and disappears down the mountain, presumably to repair the fence. Mulder and Gillian approach the cabin. They knock. No answer. Again, nothing. They try the door. It's open. They enter. Borkin is inside, strapped into a restraining device. He's burbling, muttering, clearly out of his mind. He's under sedation, Gillian says. They check a cabinet, find potent sedatives. On a wall is a world map with famous sites of UFO landings clearly marked. Mulder hears the phone. He answers it. The chief's voice tells him, "You'd better get down here on the double. Aliens are invading the town. Come quick." Mulder hangs up, quickly tells Gillian the news. She stands stock still, gaping at him. "Mulder," she says, "the phone didn't ring." Act 2. "What do you mean the phone didn't ring?" Mulder asks. Before Gillian can answer, Borkin starts frothing and screeching. He claws at the combination lock restraining him and expertly releases himself. "You people are trespassing on private property," he says, haltingly but clearly, even though he's twitching. "You have no right to be here." Mulder whips out his ID and says he only wants to ask a few questions. Borkin repeats, "You people are trespassing. I've done nothing wrong. You have no right to be here." As Mulder converses with Borkin, we see them from Gillian's point of view. Borkin is babbling gibberish, no words at all. Mulder continues to talk with him as if Borkin is speaking coherently. Gillian says, "Mulder, he's gibbering like an animal. What are you hearing?" And we hear a little child's voice from outside. "Help! Help! They want to kill me! Somebody please help me!" Borkin tells Mulder, "Oh my God, a little girl! The aliens must be after her! Help her! Help her!" Mulder flees the cabin. Gillian stands uncertain. Borkin throws himself back into the restraints. Gillian looks out the window. She's looking right into the face of the old, wiry man. He stares at her in furious concentration, then gives a look of surprise and flees. She runs out of the cabin. Mulder follows the little girl's tracks through the brush. A pathetically bedraggled young girl in a nightgown runs through the underbrush crying, "Help me, help me, they want to take me away." Mulder, gun drawn, pursues her, shouting, "I'll save you, I'll save you." It's night. In a clearing, the girl runs right into the arms of an alien. Mulder takes aim and it's day. Gillian throws herself at him, knocks his gun out of his hand. He wrestles her for it. She fights like crazy. "Mulder, Mulder," she protests, "there's nothing here. You were about to shoot a cow." She slaps Mulder hard with his gun. He staggers. The cries stop. There is indeed nothing but a frightened cow trying to get away through the brush. Mulder looks at the ground. The girl's tracks are gone. "What's happening?" he asks. "She looks just like my sister. She was wearing my sister's nightgown." He comes back to himself. It was night. Gillian says, "Mulder, it's high noon." The chief appears out of nowhere. "Give me the gun," he says. Mulder looks at Gillian. She nods. "He's really here. He's really got his gun on you." The chief says, "You're both under arrest." Mulder asks, "Did you call me at Borkin's cabin?" The chief looks puzzled for a moment. Gillian sees the wiry man in the brush. The chief says, "Sure, I did call you." Gillian asks, "Were aliens invading the town?" The chief blinks, shakes his head like a chicken. He says, "There were anonymous calls." He puts the gun away. "We need you to come back and help us figure it out." Gillian looks into the brush, directly at the wiry man. He sees her glance and flees. Gillian takes off after him. The chief says, "What's happening? What am I doing here? Where's she gone to?" Gillian says, "Mulder, follow me." Mulder hesitates, then grabs his gun from the chief and takes off after Gillian. The chief sits down in the dirt and cries. Gillian pursues the wiry man. He keeps stopping to stare at her intensely, then curses and runs on. In the cabin, Borkin snaps out of his lethargy and bellows with animal rage, tugging at his restraints. Mulder beats through the brush. Gillian appears before him. He runs to her. She disappears and calls from behind him. He pursues her. She vanishes. She reappears. The real Gillian is calling for Mulder. "Over here," she cries, "over here." A dozen Gillians appear in the brush, all crying, "Over here, over here." Mulder pursues one, and the real Gillian tackles him and brings him to ground, right on the edge of a precipice. The aerial Gillians flicker and disappear. "Mulder," Gillian says, "I don't know what's happening." "You were everywhere," he tells her. "I saw you everywhere." Gillian thinks, then attaches herself to Mulder with handcuffs. "I'm here," she says. She leads him through the woods. He sees the bloody body of the chief. "I killed him," he cries. "There's nothing there," Gillian says. He sees the body of his sister. "I failed her," he says. "There's nothing there," Gillian assures him. He sees an alien wailing. "Why can't you leave me alone? Why do you torture me? Leave me alone." Mulder says, "It's in pain. I can't bear its pain." Gillian soothes him. "There is nothing there." They trudge on toward the cabin through visions of flame and lightning, monsters and ghouls. "There's nothing there. There's nothing there," Gillian tells him. "The alien begs, 'Leave me alone. I'm in agony.' Borkin in his cabin mumbles, 'Leave me alone. I'm in agony.' They come to the cabin. On its porch sits the old wiry man. He looks up at them. "Help me," he says. "I'm in agony." Act 3. Borkin, in his restraints, is semi-conscious, burbling and drooling. The wiry man is making tea for Gillian and Mulder, still handcuffed together. Gillian has her gun aimed at the wiry man. He observes her with wry amusement. He sets the tea before them. Mulder reaches for his. Gillian says to the wiry man, with a glance at the cabinet of drugs, "You drink first." He smiles at her and takes a great drink of the tea. Gillian tells Mulder, Okay. Mulder gratefully drinks the tea. Gillian sips hers warily. The wiry man tells her his story. "I was a bright kid. You know what it's like to be a bright kid. It's the one minority even the other minorities hate. I was incredibly fast. I picked up things with no difficulty from my teachers. I must have been 9 or 10 when I realized I was reading their minds. But I could also read the minds of the other kids around me. I saw nothing but hate and fear. Animals can smell fear. I was always afraid. One day a bunch of bullies on the schoolyard ganged up on me. I was terrified. I must have projected my fear into them. They ran from me, screaming and crying. You probably think I started running the school, but you don't understand. The fear I roused in them, I felt it back. It was horrible. I just wanted to be alone. Sometimes I'd get furious, enraged at the fate that had made me so alone. When I'd see a bully beating someone up, I'd make him feel the pain he inflicted on others. That was satisfying. But mostly, I just wanted to be alone. I got record keepers to fake graduation papers for me. I got known as a boy genius. Electrical research firms wanted me. I had a talent for electronics. And when a group of scientists couldn't solve a problem, I could look into all their minds and synthesize all their knowledge and come up with the final solution. Everybody wanted me. But I couldn't stand what I saw in their minds. All that envy and greed and competitiveness, hatred for their rivals. I arranged to work alone. It wasn't hard. I'd learned by then to plant ideas in other people's minds. The people that gave me isolated research projects always thought it was their own idea. I worked in the most far-flung areas of the world, measuring atmospheric electricity, mapping the ley lines. Mulder is fascinated. The lines of stress around the world that generate electric fields. The Rye Man nods. Whoops. The Rye Man nods. Oh yeah, you know all about those, don't you? And you know all the stories that say flying saucers use those lines to navigate around the earth. She calls it your monomania, doesn't she? He indicates Gillian. So I kept running into people who had seen things flying in the sky. Mulder expresses interest. Oh yeah, says the wiry man to Mulder. You want knowledge about the UFOs. You want certainty. You want peace. Gillian reminds him, I want information. Yes, I can see that, says the wiry man. So I caught some of these people's awe and wonder. I had a head full of their experiences. I didn't just know what they said, you understand. I experienced it. I stood on 1,000 lonely hilltops. I walked on 1,000 desert plains. I sailed on 1,000 lonely ships at sea, and I felt 1,000 times the fear, the dread, the wonder, the awe, the excitement when suddenly out of an empty sky, the great swooshing, glittering things appeared. I knew firsthand in my blood and bones and brain all the circumstances of each appearance. He is swept away in his story. Borkin begins to act up, growling like a dog in his sleep. The wiry man says, sorry, I have to keep one part of my mind occupied with making him pacified. Borkin subsides. In my head, like data stored in a computer, was all the facts about UFO sightings. This was before there were computers, you see. Nobody could calculate all the numbers. And besides, a dozen different government departments full of envious, jealous, ambitious men were keeping the data from each other. I was the only human alive who could figure out the exact patterns of the saucer's appearances. He breaks off and looks at Mulder. You don't like my calling them saucers. It's old-fashioned. It bothers you. You want to know precisely what they really are. Gillian says, I want to know precisely what happened. The wiry man goes on. I couldn't get rid of the excitement and the longing I had acquired from the fanatics' brains. I figured out when the next big landing would take place. I needed transportation and instruments. I went to the heads of my department. Mulder asked eagerly, "What department?" The wiry man says, "It doesn't exist anymore, and you'd only get into trouble of inquiring about it. I don't want you to get into trouble. I like you. You'd get killed. You can't deal with these people. They'll do anything to promote themselves, and you can't do anything you don't think is right and good. You're harmless." Gillian can't entirely suppress a snicker at this label for Mulder. The wiry man continues. "Usually it was easy to get what I wanted by controlling the department's minds. But there was a new official, a very ambitious one. I couldn't get into his mind. He was insensitive, like you." He gestures carelessly at Gillian. Mulder is amused by this description of Gillian. "He got all my records after I left. He ordered a consignment of soldiers and planes to convene at the landing site. The saucer appeared. I went forward to greet the creature that emerged, and all hell broke out around us. They took him. They took the saucer. I tried to frighten them away, but there were too many. They beat me. They took him. They beat him. They took us. They took us." Borgin is going feral in his bonds. Mulder says, "This is hurting you." The wiry man says, "Every instant for 40 years now. They took me and the alien. They took us to an underground prison. I won't tell you where. Don't ask. They locked him up and they took me apart. They dismantled him physically and me psychically. They kept me on drugs and in bonds. They found out what I could do. They put me through tests, dangerous tests, hideous tests. They actually increased my abilities. They forced me to learn even more mind control. They found a staff of insensitives to keep me prisoner. I lived in a daze of drugs and pain. Then they came to take me away. They took me to where they had the alien. It was horrible. He was in a cage. They had the wrong drugs pumped into it. He could hardly breathe. They fed him the wrong things. He was dying. If they'd brought him to me earlier, I could have saved him. I could have saved him." Mulder begins to see these events as the wiry man lets down his defenses and projects them into Mulder's mind. Mulder bursts into tears. Borkin moans in his chains. Gillian looks back and forth concerned. The wiry man goes on. "They ordered me to read the alien's mind and tell them what he was on Earth for, how his spaceship operated, where he was from. I tried, but it was so alien, so terrifying, so confusing, and he was in such agony. 'Let me free,' he cried. 'Why are you torturing me? I'm in agony.' I wanted to go away, but they had me tied down. I couldn't get away. I couldn't save him. I couldn't let those monsters know what was in his mind. I did the only thing I could do. I killed him. I killed him. I killed him." The spectral alien howls an unbearable howl. Its brain bursts. It literally explodes. Mulder, the wiry man, and Borkin all echo its screams. Then they subside. The wiry man says, "And at last there was peace." Act 4. The alien's bloody, exploded remains lie on the floor of the cabin. Mulder and the wiry man stare at them. Gillian doesn't see them. The wiry man finishes his story quickly. "So they locked me up in a loony bin for psychopathic killers while they tried to carve the alien's knowledge out of my brain. He was there." He indicates Borkin. "Big brute. I had him fight his way out with me behind him. Once we got free, I made myself invisible to everyone in my area. We robbed a few banks that didn't even know they'd been robbed until the next day. And I came here to hide. Mulder says, now you've got to come back into the world. We can protect you. You must help us find out what's going on in the secret government. You must help us contact and protect the aliens. You can even... Mulder hesitates. The wiry man completes Mulder's thought. I can even tell you what happened to your sister. Do you know what happened to her? It's all in your head. You only have to admit that you know to access it. You don't need me. And I can't go back out there. You don't know what it's like for me among people. I can barely stand being among the retards and pendulum long enough to get supplies. I only told you my story because I liked you, so you'd understand why you have to go away and let me alone. Gillian says, so the aliens that appeared to the gang in the woods? Projections, the wiry man says. It's not hard for me to project whenever anyone gets too close. The aliens, it's always on my mind. Gillian says, you realize we can't just let this drop. Mulder says, we have to, Gillian. We can't make him go out there. Gillian says, he's projecting that thought into your mind. The wiry man denies it. Mulder does too. We have to let him stay free. He'll help us now and then. He'll be grateful. Mulder insists. Gillian protests to the wiry man. You're not well, you're old, you're weak, you need medical attention. If you'd come with us peacefully, we can supply all these things. We can keep you safe. You have incredible treasures of knowledge to offer humanity. The wiry man scoffs at Gillian. You just want to get me on a dissecting table so you can take me apart and get yourself a Nobel Prize. I know you detached scientific types. Oh, I've known hundreds of you. Mulder insists. She's not like that. You don't know her. Look into her mind and you'll see. I can't look into her mind, the wiry man shouts. I told you. She's an insensitive. I can't read her. I can't influence her. And as for her being so kind and benevolent, look at your own mind. Mulder suddenly sees a montage of many cynical, doubting, suspicious, insulting remarks Gillian has made on earlier shows. Everything that would make anyone think she was cold, calculating, untrustworthy. Mulder fights off the influence. No, he says, you don't understand. That's not Oliver. She isn't like that. The wiry man sneers and stands bolt upright. He takes command, obviously. And as for being trustworthy, then why is he coming up the hill? He who? Gillian asks. Him, the wiry man wails. Him, that one. Mulder sees first the image of the insensitive man that trapped the wiry man in a memory, and then the wiry man's perception that the same man is indeed headed up the hill with soldiers. The wiry man screams, she called them, she told them. I didn't, Gillian protests. You did, you're all alike. Mulder, kill her, the wiry man orders. No, Mulder refuses, no. The wiry man concentrates on Mulder, and Mulder sees Gillian as a horrible, cackling witch, grunting, I call them, I'll kill him. I'll have you locked up as a crazy man. You'll never find your sister. I killed your sister. I killed your sister. The wiry man screams, kill her, Mulder, kill her. Now we see from Gillian's point of view. She is, of course, not threatening anyone. Borkin is banging himself against his bonds. Mulder screams at Gillian, stop it, you must. Where's my sister? What did you do to her? Mulder grabs Gillian's throat in his hands. The wiry man is intensely concentrated. Gillian barely manages to croak. Mulder, it's Gillian. Mulder drops her, says, oh my God. The wiry man concentrates again. Mulder's hands start to move to Gillian's throat. She holds up the gun, afraid, aimed at Mulder. Then she drops it. The gun's clunk sounds enormous. Mulder snaps out of his spell. He embraces Gillian. We see, through the wiry man's mind, the forces coming up the hill, Borkin banging at his bonds, Mulder embracing Gillian, who becomes, in his arms, an angel, his sister, a naked and adoring lover, then herself again as the insensitive man's forces crash against the door. The wiry man screams, "No!" Borkin breaks loose and grabs the wiry man. He tears the wiry man's head off with one gesture. Blood sprays everywhere. Mulder grabs Gillian's gun and shoots Borkin through the forehead. Borkin falls with a huge thud. There is silence in the cabin, except for a timid knocking at the door. It opens and the chief stands there. What the hell is going on here? He asks. Epilogue. The next morning, Gillian and Mulder are driving away from Pendulum. He really thought the government was coming up the hill for him, Mulder says. He had reached the point of paranoia where he couldn't even trust his own mind, Gillian explains. We'll never know what he could have told us now, Mulder laments. Some things may be more important than even knowledge, Gillian soothes. I couldn't let him hurt you. I couldn't let him make me hurt you, Mulder says. Briefly, Gillian becomes again angel, sister, lover in Mulder's eyes. I never thought you could, Gillian says. She cannot resist adding, after all, you are harmless. Mulder drives on a bit in silence, then grins and taunts. And you're insensitive. Gillian starts to respond, stifles it, then after a bit quips, I don't feel that. They both smile and drive on away from Pendulum with their own secrets and mysteries. The end.